There was an in-depth piece, like a behind-the-scenes piece, talking about how they've been in a full meltdown about this girl for a couple of years now.
That said, our primary purpose is to entertain, and where we can entertain responsibly, obviously we try to do that. We try to have a positive impact on the world, but the first thing we need to do is entertain.
In a move that sent shockwaves through Hollywood, AMC Theaters has just pulled Disney's Snow White remake from every single one of their screens nationwide.
I have a clip of it.
Oh, okay, great.
Her being a retard.
Okay.
This unprecedented decision came after ticket sales didn't just decline, they completely collapsed. The film that was meant to be Disney's next big hit has instead become their most humiliating failure in years. And the reasons behind this catastrophe revealed just how badly things went wrong. Disney had everything lined up for success: a beloved classic story, a massive budget, and star power with Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot.
This bizarre fixation with race shifting everything, but only in one direction by Disney, obviously is quite strange.
But what happened next proved that even the most powerful studio in the world can't force audiences to watch something they've completely turned against. The trouble began when clips started circulating of Rachel Zegler discussing her approach to the character. In interviews that quickly went viral, Zegler made statements that many viewers interpreted as dismissive of the original story they loved. "It's no longer 1937, she stated in one particularly controversial clip, and Snow White is not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be."
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White.
That laugh.
That is
not going to be saved by
You
the
wrote
prince.
it?
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
These comments immediately sparked backlash from fans who felt the adaptation was straying too far from what made the original special.
It just takes a beloved movie and makes it much more boring and much less realistic. The movie is really, really bad.
Rather than seeming like a fresh take, many viewers felt the changes were removing the very heart of the story. The fairy tale's central themes, true love's kiss, the prince's rescue, were apparently being replaced with what some called a modernized version that bore little resemblance to the beloved classic. What might have remained a contained controversy exploded when Zegler appeared on The View for what was supposed to be standard promotional press. Disney executives had carefully planned this appearance as an opportunity to smooth over tensions and reassure traditional fans.
Are on the line, folks.
Bitch! The right to buy Cosby sweaters?
Come on.
This is the face
Go
of a
vote blue.
serial killer.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button.
Instead, the opposite happened. According to multiple reports, there was significant tension behind the scenes. With Disney's PR team attempting to steer the conversation in a safe direction, while Ziegler had her own agenda. The resulting segment quickly spiraled out of control. Eyewitnesses described frantic gestures from producers off camera trying to redirect the conversation as Zegler doubled down on statements that further alienated potential viewers. The segment ended with security reportedly escorting Zegler off set and an abrupt cut to commercial.
But the primary suffering is being sent in by my company to watch a children's movie as a single man, like 2 p.m. on a Thursday. That was the first part that was a little bit weird, but I was basically the only person in the theater.
While the most explosive moments never fully aired, partial clips and reports spread across social media within hours, creating what industry insiders called a PR nightmare of historic proportions. The public reaction was swift and merciless. Social media exploded with Not My Snow White hashtags. Parents who might have taken their children to see the film regardless of controversy now actively avoided it. Even casual moviegoers who normally pay little attention to Hollywood drama knew about the meltdown.
It is not racist to suggest that a character who is described in the original as skin white as snow, that is literally how the character is described in the original, that's a character description in the same way that, as you mentioned, in Moana.
The film had become toxic before it even hit theaters. Opening weekend numbers confirmed the disaster. Ticket sales came in far below even the most conservative estimates. Theaters reported playing to half-empty auditoriums, with local managers noting that customers would walk past Snow White posters without a second glance or openly discuss avoiding the film due to the controversy. For AMC, the situation quickly became financially untenable. Each empty seat for a Snow White screening represented lost revenue that could have been generated by showing a more popular release.
Very few people wanted to see this. Even the little kids who like Disney movies, even they don't seem to be turning up in droves for the movie because the movie is really, really bad.
Theater managers reported day after day of dismal turnout with no signs of improvement. The film wasn't just underperforming, it was actively driving away customers. And so, in a decision that industry veterans called unprecedented for a major Disney release, AMC officially announced the removal of Snow White from all its theaters. This wasn't just a scheduling adjustment, it was an emergency amputation. AMC executives stated bluntly that the film's performance did not justify the continued allocation of screens. For a Disney film to be pulled so completely and so quickly was unheard of, signaling just how catastrophic the situation had become. The fallout has sent ripples through Hollywood's entire power structure. Bob Iger, who returned to Disney's leadership amid various challenges, now faces serious questions about the studio's approach to remaking beloved classics.
You don't particularly see people who, look like me or are me playing roles like that. So it was definitely, when it got announced,
White!
He wasn't a stalker, by the way.
Thing that was trending on Twitter for days because all of the people were angry.
The Snow White debacle exposed a dangerous gap between Disney's corporate strategy and audience expectations. Critics point to the failure as evidence that studios can't simply modernize classic stories without respecting what made them special in the first place. The controversy revealed that when audiences perceive an adaptation as holding the original in contempt, they can turn against it with startling speed. For Disney, the consequences extend far beyond this single film. The studio has built much of its recent strategy around live-action remakes of animated classics. The spectacular collapse of Snow White now casts doubt on that entire business model. Industry analysts are already speculating that Disney will implement stricter guidelines for future projects, particularly regarding how stars discuss these films in public. The disaster also highlighted the dangerous power of social media to amplify controversy. What might once have remained a minor disagreement between fans became an unstoppable wave of negative publicity that ultimately doomed the film.
And so it was like
those people.
Very much this, yes. It was this
people that
awakening
we need to educate, the people that we need to love into awareness.
love them in the right direction.
In today's media landscape, even the biggest studios can't control the narrative once it slips from their grasp. As AMC theaters replace Snow White with more profitable titles, the film's failure stands as a sobering reminder that no studio, not even Disney, is too big to fail. This adaptation will be remembered not for its updated themes or creative vision, but as the film that was so controversial and poorly received that the largest theater chain in America decided it wasn't even worth keeping on screens. The Snow White debacle isn't just a temporary setback, it's a watershed moment that will shape how studios approach beloved properties for years to come. The question now isn't whether Disney will learn from this catastrophe, but whether they can rebuild audience trust before their next big remake hits theaters.